Welcome to Journal Entries. I'm Samantha Hawley, and I work with successful women in business and leadership who are making six figures and tired of their work stress bleeding into their home life. I specialize in the ripple effect, helping you regulate your nervous system so that you can be focused and fulfilled in your career and patient and present at home. If you're ready to leave work at work and choose presence over performance, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome to today's journal entry. Today really does feel like a journal entry because you're getting a real, raw, almost update of my life. Kind of. Things have been lifing over here. And I realized the other day that things have actually been kind of heavy. I knew that they were heavy, but I didn't let myself acknowledge it all at once. I felt like I was kind of just compartmentalizing each individual thing until I went to go see my therapist. I think my appointment was last week. Yeah. And I started off my therapy session saying, okay, so just a few random updates and then we'll see where it goes. And we spent the full hour talking about those three things. And at the end, my therapist was like, Sam, that's a lot. These are a big deal. And I only told her three of the things that I'm about to tell you. And so today I want to tell you and walk you through what's happening in my life right now, the pattern that I caught myself in, the two things that I've been living by that have really helped me with everything that's going on, and then what has shifted, for lack of a better word, in my life since recognizing this pattern and then redirecting with these two things. So just kind of a rapid fire of what's happening, because honestly, I could go into more detail on all of it. Or maybe not all of it, but some of it. So a few unfortunate things. My cousin passed away a couple weeks ago. My sister's mother-in-law is ill, which, I mean, I know it's my sister's mother-in-law, but I know her. I've been to events with her. And before moving home, my sister wasn't even married yet. And my sister had just started dating my now brother-in-law. And I just had this vision of that family is going to welcome me with me and Griffin with open arms. And I just saw myself like going to brunch with their family, which hasn't happened, but like going to events with them and going to their cottage with them, which I have been to and whatnot. And anyways, it's just such an incredible family. And so that has been weighing on me. Also navigating child support issues. My parents' dog has a hip that's acting funky, and they think that it could be something serious potentially. I have ADHD symptoms, which this is the one thing that could be truly an entire episode. But long story short, 2 years ago, I went to my doctor and I had said, these are all my symptoms. I feel like I have adult ADHD. And I was completely dismissed. And in fact, she told me that I had it was just a postpartum symptom, even though Griffin, my son, was 3 years old at the time. And I felt so not just dismissed, but like disheartened and unheard and unvalidated, all the things that I just kind of went back into my shell. And I was like, all right, got to find different ways to work around the symptoms that I'm having and also pretend like I'm not having them, all these things. But then recently, both my mom and my sister were like, do you think you have ADHD? And I'm like, yeah, I definitely do for all these reasons. Anyways, I brought it up to my new doctor and it was just going in circles, trying to get like a psych test eval, neuropsych eval, which didn't get approved and all of these things, again, feeling dismissed, to suddenly being offered medication. And so talking about that with my therapist. And then family members who have doctor's appointments right now, and it's just easy to expect the worst case scenario. And there's probably more, but literally those were just the bullet points off the top of my brain. And I caught myself doing what I see all of my clients and honestly, probably all women and moms in general. That's a broad statement. But what so many people do, and it's dismissing all that we have going on. And what I've learned throughout just all this that's happening and realizing that I've been dismissing it and also just not acknowledging all of it together. Like I said earlier, just compartmentalizing it of like, oh, this happened. And then separate from that, this happened. And not realizing like, it's a lot. It's actually a heavy season right now, which I didn't allow myself to realize is that, and these are the two things that I've realized. So the pattern first is that I've been dismissing it. And the two things is to, one, not dismiss it. This is the big thing that I coach women on. And now that I've gotten to coach myself on, is to not dismiss the emotion, to not feel like other people have it worse. It's so easy to slip into that mindset of, yes, this is all happening, but other people are going through so much worse. Or what I hear more often is, this is happening in my life, but I should be grateful for XYZ, or that XYZ is happening in my life. And not to take away from, yes, I am healthy. Griffin is healthy. My business is doing great. All of these things are amazing, and I'm so grateful for that. And these other things are weighing really heavy on me. And so I just want to give you permission, if you are also going through a heavy, hard season in your life right now, or maybe it's just a season of grief for you, just something that feels like a lot. It's okay to feel like it's a lot, even if you also have something that you are grateful for, even if there's somebody else in your life that might, quote unquote, have it worse than you. I want to give you permission to honor whatever it is that you are going through, to validate that, and to just sit in it and to feel it. This always sounded crazy to me until I actually experienced it. But one of the best ways and quickest ways to work through an emotion, whether it be overwhelm or even grief sometimes, is to allow yourself to feel it. And once you feel the weight of it and the intensity of it, it'll move through you and it'll feel less intense. You might still feel it, but it will feel less intense. It's when we hide it and we don't acknowledge the weight of it and the fact that it's our full body feeling, and it just builds and builds and builds. And then it's like all we can feel, and we have a meltdown or we burn out. And this is actually what happened the very first time I ever journaled, back in December 19th of 2020. Actually, that was the very specific day where I told my now ex-husband that I just needed to journal to get some stuff out of my head, locked myself in our spare bedroom, and I wrote on the top of the page, vent sesh. And I wrote, I feel like I'm dropping all of the balls. And I truly just vented, and I didn't solve anything. I just wrote down the current state of what was happening, how I was feeling, and just validating it and seeing my life for what it was, especially the hard stuff, felt so good. It moved so much in my body and my brain that it felt so freeing. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, don't expect the worst case scenario. Now, this isn't just think positive advice. In fact, I have a whole framework. It's one of my favorite frameworks that I teach my private clients, called the worst case solution, where we really go there with the worst case scenario. We want to know what that looks like instead of ignoring it, just like those hard feelings that we just talked about. But sometimes I feel like people in my life, like my parents, default to the hardest solution, the hardest option. And maybe you're like this, maybe you know people like this, where something will happen and then they will problem solve, but they choose the most difficult solution. And it's almost like they think that that's the only option. And it's really difficult. And they're like, this is what we have to do. And it's just, from an outside perspective, it's like they can't see the easier option right next to it. But then recently, with everything I have going on, I caught myself doing that exact same thing. I was trying to schedule my work week just recently. And I was so stressed because I was looking at all that I had going on. And I was assuming that I needed to drive home 3 days in a row for meetings that felt necessary to be at home, just because I felt like I needed a private setting. I needed to record a podcast one day, which I just prefer being at home for. Until I paused and I asked myself, how can this be easy? Or I like asking, how easy can this be? And I ended up working from my car, which is totally acceptable. That's actually my office now, is my car for the most part, for 2 of those meetings that week. And I only needed to drive home once that week for that podcast recording because I'm still not comfortable recording guest podcasts from my car. I'm getting more comfortable recording solo episodes from my car. But anyways, I took all of my meetings that week from my car. And my nervous system felt so much better. And I was more productive. I didn't spend 50 minutes, 25 minutes there and back, like to my home and then back to where I need to pick up Griffin driving. And I got so much more done. So since doing those 2 things of embracing how can things be easier in my life and in my day to day, especially, and also validating and just honoring and feeling whatever emotion comes up for me, things have been shifting. Things have been happening, which has been so cool to see because I haven't been focused on these things, but I'm noticing them. So the first thing is that opportunities have been opening up for me. And these have all just happened recently. The first thing is, and what I think is extra cool about this is that it happened on a day that I was just like, I am so stressed that I need to book myself a massage. And it all just kind of panned out. It was actually a couple weeks ago, the Halloween week, because I found a new place in Albion that offers acai bowls, and literally it's attached to a salon. I mentioned this in my newsletter the other week, but it's attached to a salon. And randomly, the day that I walked in, they were offering $25 off massages. And I was like, this is a sign. Let me book the massage that I've been meaning to book for months. So I booked a massage for 2 days later, which I never do. I'm always like, let me book it for 2 weeks out or a month out. I book my massage, I get out of that massage, and I have a message waiting from a colleague who has a referral for me for a new client. And she signs up right then and there, basically. And it was just amazing. I was like, wow, how cool is it that the day that I actually don't work, I take off of work and I get myself a massage, I invest in myself and my health, my mental health and my self-care, is the day that my business actually grows. Also, something else that happened is New York State took action for child support on my behalf. And I had no idea that they were going to be reaching out to my ex. And my ex actually reached out to me, which is how I found out. And I just felt both of those things. I felt so supported. Like I've been putting in the work every day, and I don't know, and beyond. Like I think I may have mentioned I went to court in the summertime for child support, and it's just been back and forth and whatnot. And it was the first time that I didn't have to lift a finger and action was taken. It just felt supported, and supported is the word that I realized a couple months ago that is underneath all of my goals. When I ask myself, and actually our Thursday journaling episode for gratitude, I ask you, based on all the goals that you want, what is the feeling underneath it? And for me, like my dream home and my financial goal and things that I want for Griffin and in a relationship and all of that, it comes down to I want to feel supported. And so those 2 things that happened made me feel that. And so recognizing it, leaning into that feeling. And then something that happened just the other day, I had a day where I felt a little nauseous in my throat, but not my stomach. Almost like I had a lump in my throat. It was weird. And around dinner time, I slowed down enough mentally because honestly, it was a pretty slow day. It was a Sunday. I had breakfast or brunch with my parents. It was a relaxing day, if I'm being honest. So mentally, I had slowed down. And I asked myself, why was there this disconnect in this nausea in my throat to stomach? And I realized that I actually had a lot to say to people, and I was procrastinating on saying it. And it was everything from small things, like I had wanted to text my brother-in-law just to say that I was thinking of him and his family. I've been wanting to reach out to specific people that I want to invite to a private coaching container in 2026, and some other things too. So some of the things that I've been wanting to say, some I took immediate action on. Like right away, once I realized this, I texted my brother-in-law. And then I made a note in the notes app on my phone of like just little bullet points of what I remember specifically about these people that I wanted to invite. Like, why am I called to work with these specific individuals? What makes them so special? And my pull to them. So I made that like not just a mental note, but I made it physical. And then anything else, I made it a to-do list item. So it was not just in my brain or clearly in my throat. It was now something that I either did and I checked off of that list, or it was something that I was going to be doing. And within an hour, that feeling of like nausea in my throat went away. It was just like, oh, thank God. It feels so good. And then finally, I journaled on the rest of the things going on in my life. And I remembered through journaling that so much of that is out of my control. In fact, I think all of it is out of my control. And 90% of it isn't even mine to carry. I can feel for other people. This is what I wrote in my journal entry. I can feel for other people and not take responsibility for it. Really, out of that whole list that I said earlier, the only thing that's mine to carry are those ADHD appointments and the medication that I'm on and documenting that and whatnot. Everything else, I'm impacted by it, yes. And I can feel for my family members that are also impacted by it, but I don't have to take responsibility for the outcome of it or for how my family members are feeling about it. I can prioritize myself and what I can control. And that revelation through my strategic journaling was just really big for me. So if you are feeling pressure in your business these past or last 6 weeks of the year, how crazy is it that there's only 6 weeks of the year? Or again, if you also have a lot of stuff going on in your life, whether it be family stuff or just personal stuff, business stuff, whatever it is, and life is just lifing for you, feeling heavy for you, the two things to remember: slow down long enough, likely mentally, to honor and validate your emotions without dismissing it, and ask yourself, how easy can this be? And I can guarantee things will start to shift for you, and maybe things will start to open up for you as well. And if you're curious about the worst case solution framework, or you're just really going through it and would love some support, I encourage you to check out my 90-minute breakthrough intensives in the show notes. In those intensives, that's where you're going to process the heaviest thing on your plate right now by getting to the root of it so that you stop repeating cycles that keep your nervous system spiked. Today, the day that I'm recording this, I have an intensive with a woman who says that there's just so much noise in her brain, and it's like she can't turn it off. This chatter constantly that is just going on about her to-do list and her goals and all of that. And one of the questions I asked her on her intake form is, what is your mental self-talk like? How do you talk to yourself? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it mean? Is it neutral? And her answer was, I honestly don't think I talk to myself. It's just a running to-do list. It's just all this noise. So that's the biggest thing that we're going to be working on. Anyways, check that out. Also check out my free Calm Mind Blueprint, which is what I use a lot when I've got a lot on my plate and I just need to brain dump, but effectively. So the link for that will also be in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in today. If you've got a lot on your plate, if your life feels heavy, I feel for you and I'm here for you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me for today's journal entry. If something resonated with you, I'd love to know about it. Screenshot this episode, share it on social media, and tag me at samantha.s.says. Or even leave a review, which will help more women find this podcast to create more fulfillment in their career and as a mom. And hey, if you're thinking, I wish I could get more of this, I've got you covered. Click on the link in the show notes, which I customize each week based on what we're talking about. And I always include the link to the Calm Mind Blueprint, which are my 5 journal prompts to go from overwhelm to inner peace in 2 to 10 minutes a day. Subscribe so that you catch my Thursday 5-minute journal with me episodes and next week's full episode where we will continue this journey together. I'll see you then.